And if you want, you can take your mic off and walk around if you want to. I don't know how you feel more comfortable standing at a podium or moving around. Yeah, I think Desiree is going before you, so we'll get it. Don't worry. Okay, what else? No, she's gonna give me a little more.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Yolo, coming to you live from the beautiful Grand Transodium here in downtown Winters, California. We're so happy to see you. We got a great service lined up. Let's get started with a little Byers Beck with I'm Choosing Heaven Today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing love today. Compassion. I choose compassion today. I choose compassion today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I choose compassion today. Joy. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing joy today. Abundance. I choose abundance today. I choose abundance today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I choose abundance today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Yolo. My name is Reverend David Clark. I'm the senior minister here, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you here today. We got a special service lined up, and it's just going to be thrilling and amazing and wonderful, and I'm just so glad you're here to share it with us. Good morning, Billy. Our music director, Billy Larkin. Thank you, David.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing great.
I'm excited.
I'm so happy to be back, and I've missed you guys for the last 2 Sundays, and had a wonderful trip to LA, and tell you all about it when talking to you individually. But yeah, thank you again for putting up with me going away, and I'm happy to be back.
Yes, glad you're here. Well, as I said, we have a wonderful service lined up today. We've got 2 special speakers today. one is Desiree Rojas. She's the president of the Labor Council for Latin American Achievement. She's going to share with us some very intimate pictures about the early days of the farm workers' struggles and protests right here in California and in Washington. So that, I'm very much looking forward to that. So let's give a preliminary clap for Desiree. Preliminary welcome for her. And we also have Donzaleigh Abernathy here. Yay. She's the daughter of Dr. Ralph Abernathy. And if you know anything about civil rights, then the name Abernathy is very recognizable to you. So I cannot wait to hear what she has to offer. And let's give her a little preliminary welcome. Yes. So, here you are at a Center for Spiritual Living. We are, what are we? What have we gotten into? What do we talk about here? Well, Science of Mind is the philosophy that we teach. And basically that is a philosophy that teaches spiritual principles and how to bring about our good through thought, belief, and the interconnectedness of all life. Essentially, it's the realization that God is not somewhere out there, but God is here, within, and with us at all times. So, we also believe a few other things here. We have 4 core beliefs that we practice here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Yolo. Number 1, we believe that love is all there is. Everything is a call for love, an expression of love, a result of love. Love, love, love. You can't do anything without having love pop into your mind throughout your day and throughout every choice that you make. So we pay a lot of attention to where we apply our love in this philosophy. Number 2, we believe that all thought is creative and influential. Thoughts are things. And everything around you has been preceded by thought. And everything in your life has been preceded by thought before it became real to you in an actual manifestation in your life. So we pay a lot of attention also to what we think and what we believe in this philosophy. Number 3, we believe that you are whole, perfect, and complete exactly as you are right now. I'll say that again. We believe that you are whole, perfect, and complete exactly as you are right now, with everything that you've got going on, with everything that you've done, everything that you're doing, and everything that you will do. We believe that we enter into this life whole, perfect, and complete, and we stay that way. And why? Because we come from a whole, perfect, and complete source that only makes whole, perfect, and complete things, and you are one of those blessed things. So number 4, we believe in a world that works for everyone, and we're working from this world together. And we don't believe in a world that we're trying to make work for everyone. This world currently works for everyone. It operates on love and law and cause and effect in the same way that it has since the beginning of time. And what this philosophy does is determine how to use those rules and use those divine laws to bring good into our lives and good into the world. So we want to utilize the gifts and the laws that God has already given us. We've got everything that we need to make this world a paradise. We have everything that we need. So we just need to live into that and know that we have all that we need. So now it's time for my favorite time of the day. It's our Namaste time, a time where we get a chance to look at each other in the eye and to acknowledge that divinity that exists within them, that bright burning flame that is alive in each one of us. And as we do that, we say Namaste and we greet each other. So let's have our Namaste time now. Greet your neighbors. a wonderful feeling it is. And if you didn't get enough namaste time, I encourage you to take namaste out into the world and to greet everyone that you meet and acknowledge the divinity that is within them first and foremost. And you don't have to do the whole namaste, but you can do a little namaste in your head. And you can know that you're looking at that you are a whole, perfect, and complete person, looking at a whole, perfect, and complete person. So now I'd like to welcome up our practitioner of the day, Dr. Deborah Taylor. She's going to share with us our vision, our mission, and today's affirmation. Good morning, Deborah.
Good morning, CSL Yolo.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm a little excited. Sorry. I'm not sorry. Why did I say sorry? I'm a little excited. Okay. So it is my great pleasure and honor to share with you the big vision that we have here and the mission of how we go about our vision. And then we'll have an affirmation. And you know, I like for people to participate because that's how we show up in the world. That's how we practice being the whole, perfect, and complete spiritual beings that we are, right? We have these bodies, but we are pure spirit. And so our vision here at CSL Yolo is to create an environment for all to realize the power of spiritual connection. And we just experienced a bit of that with the Namaste time. So let's just take a breath and say together the vision statement. Our vision is to create an environment for all to realize the power of spiritual connection. And our mission here at CSL Yolo is to provide a sanctuary for all to be lifted and inspired to embody spiritual principles and live their inherent greatness. So I'm going to invite us to, we're embodying, so let's do some embodying, and let's just stand together as we speak these words in our own voice. And as we speak these words, I'm going to invite you to just assume the stance of what it means to you to embody these principles. So let's say our mission statement. Our mission is to provide a sanctuary for all to be lifted and inspired to embody spiritual principles and live their inherent greatness. So assume. Thank you. Please be seated. So I'm just going to invite you to allow the words of the affirmation to permeate your very being, and then I will invite you to speak those words in your own voice. My thoughts and actions are rooted in peace and compassion. So let's say that together. My thoughts and actions are rooted in peace and compassion. Thank you. I'm going to invite our board president, Peggy Gravenlau, to share some happenings with us.
Good morning, everybody. All right, I'm going to just review some ongoing events and keep this short today. We have a full plate. Our first announcement is the Gratitude Group, led by June Robinson. It's going to meet this Wednesday on April 10th from 1 to 2:30 at the Davisville Apartments Community Room in Davis. And the mission of the Gratitude Group is to uplift our lives through an ever-increasing sense of gratitude for Spirit's presence throughout our lives. In this group, you will learn to explore the very nature of gratitude and its many gifts through study, discussion, and fellowship. And next, our Jason Gerardo's April events, which will include a forgiveness event on April 18th at 11 a.m., and you will embark on a journey of healing and renewal through the ancient art of Ho'oponopono. And on the 21st is going to be the walking meditation with Jason at 8:30 a.m. And you can join Jason for a mindfulness and meditation walk in beautiful downtown Winters. Discover how to incorporate walking meditation into your everyday routine and reap the benefits of this powerful practice. And the walk is along Pewter Creek Path, and you will meet at the stage that's just below the bridge in Winters. And the last one is a new one for Jason. It's Soul Awakening event on 4/27. And Jason will be participating in the Soul Awakening event sponsored by the Soul Garden Holistic Healing in Woodland. And if you go to their website, soulgardenholistichealing.com, you'll get more information on that. And if you go to onepathcoaching.com, that's Jason's website, and you'll see everything explained in full detail. That's it. Thank you.
So it is my pleasure. We have we have all these special guests today. And the first one that I'm going to introduce is Desiree Rojas. And she's going to give us kind of a bird's eye overview of how the farm worker movement, well, let me back up for a sec for people who may not know. We are culminating the Season for Peace and Nonviolence, which is a 64-day period between the assassination of the Mahatma Gandhi and the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And we also include Cesar Chavez's birthday in there. And they were all dedicated to using nonviolence as the method to achieve freedom. A very powerful method also, and spiritually based. So Desiree, I'm going to invite you forth. Desiree lives in Davis. Her dad, Al Rojas, was one of the movers and shakers in the farm worker organization. He was an organizer, basically, formed a union and worked alongside with Cesar Chavez. And she worked alongside her dad for many, many years. So she'll give us 7 to 10 minute presentation. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. I first want to say that when I walked into this beautiful building, I said, oh, I feel the Holy Spirit here. I feel something here. And as Reverend Clark began to speak, I just felt this huge wave of love. Love, love, love. And I'm in love with love. And I try my best to remember that in my life. Please let me begin by saying thank you to Reverend David Clark and to Dr. Deborah Taylor for inviting me here, and also to Patrick for helping me out with the slideshow. But when I received the call from Deborah that the daughter of Dr. Abernathy was going to be present today, Donzaleigh Abernathy, I got nervous. I got nervous and I started to cry. And I started to cry because I too was a child in the movement. And it comes with great suffering. And it comes with a responsibility to remind people that in the suffering of people, I'm also Native American, and I'm a Native woman. All my grandparents, my family, we come from farm workers. My great-great-grandmother and her children, we were all farm workers. And farm workers in California and throughout this nation, farm workers come from various people of different walks of life. From indigenous people, Black people, Filipino people, white people, Asian people. Farm workers come from people of all walks of life, and it's a suffering that is enormous. So when I was invited to be here before your presence, I understood so much already. Because when you're a child in this movement, or any movement that is striving to use peace, to fight for human rights, civil rights, farm worker rights, children see, listen, watch, and they see the adults around them who today are considered famous people, but back then they were just people that believed in something, and they were inspired by something. They were inspired by the suffering, the poverty, the change, wanting to make change. And that was the seed in their spirit that said, it's not about me, it's about all of us. And that's what my dad would say, Desiree, when you speak, you make sure that when you speak, you say, it's not about me, it's about us. Because that's what inspired my parents as child farm workers later on in life to say, this has to end. The indentured servitude, the modern day indentured servitude for farm workers of no bathrooms, no water, no shade, no breaks, using equipment that was breaking the bodies of human beings and their children at their side had to end. So my father, Al Rojas, who I'm here to speak about, and I think I do this. This is my father. And this photo was taken in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But my father and my parents' lives of organizing really began in Oxnard, California. In 1964, my father birthed the Citizens Against Poverty organization, and later on began organizing with other comrades, farm workers in that region, and they birthed the Independent United Farm Workers Union. And later on, that union merged with the Filipino farm workers in Delano with Larry Ityalong and Philip Veracruz. That was AWOC, the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee. And then there was a merge also with Chavez and Huerta, and also with Gilbert Badia, who were running a nonprofit in Delano. And this merge became eventually the AWOC, the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee, that also eventually formed UFW tied to the AFL-CIO. And in order to grow this movement, they decided we have to go nationwide. And so my parents chose the most difficult of states, and that was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And with $50, one phone number, and all of our clothes and paper bags, we went in a car to a place that my parents had no idea really what it would look like. And when we got there, we were beyond hungry. And if it wasn't for the community in Pittsburgh, which was the Catholic community, the Jewish community, and the Black community, those especially in the civil rights movement, we would have starved to death or froze to death because we were not accustomed to the temperatures there. But for over 10 years, we lived off of $5 a week. donated clothing, donated housing, and donated food. We were not allowed to take government money. And my parents believed that this was a sacrifice that they had to take in order to uplift and to make social change. So this picture was taken in Pittsburgh, and this was taken inside of our home. We had mass before we had a demonstration, it's not very clear, but this is my father. This is what we looked like when we were out boycotting grapes and organizing in the city of Pittsburgh. And for farm workers in California. So we were the family that stood the longest on the boycott, but our mission was to educate everywhere we went on the farm worker movement, which tied in with the civil rights movement because we started working together in order to uplift each other. And the civil rights movement was very important along with the farm worker movement because Black people, Black workers were being oppressed. And especially in labor, there was discrimination in labor, and we built a union, and we were building a union. So labor across the board made a lot of sense to be united, so we wouldn't be divided, right? And this is my father and me holding the Huelga flag right here at Davis Central Park. When we were on the tomato strike here in Yolo County. After we left Pittsburgh, we went to Poplar. And my parents organized the farm workers there in Poplar, which consisted of Mexican, Filipinos, and Arab Yemen farm workers. And my mother taught herself Arabic in order to organize the workers there, which was very difficult for her at the time because she was very tired. We were all very tired and very mentally tired as well. So later we moved up north to organize the farm workers picking and harvesting tomatoes in this region. And we never left this area after. This was, the last campaign with UFW. But there's thousands of pictures of my family and my father in this movement, and thousands of campaigns that we've worked on and organized on. After my father, we left the UFW after over 10 years, my father began asking the question of why? Why is this circle of labor coming from Mexico, and why are Mexican workers so abused? So he had to go to Mexico to get his questions answered, and as a result, he started fighting against NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which led us on that campaign of bringing awareness about how much destruction, not only to labor and workers, but the environment from this agreement. And as a result, my father got involved with organizing workers in Mexico. And in Mexico, when the unions in Mexico admire him so much because there was a very horrible time before this new administration was in with previous presidents. They were killing a lot of labor workers, the teachers union, the electrical workers union, and they contacted my father for help. And he went to Mexico knowing that his life could be in danger, but he felt, what good is it to sit on this legacy if I can't use it to help other people? So as a result, he built the bridge of union labor into Mexico to help people and families. And so as a result, for the first time, they pushed legislation to allow Mexican workers here to have the right to cast an absentee ballot in Mexico, which is a huge success, which is what Mexico is doing in their elections and moving forward. A lot of great changes come their way, and I was very proud of my father for all the work that he did in Mexico. But getting back to the farm worker movement and workers and the suffering of people, being a farm worker, a day in the life of a farm worker is very, very, there's a lot of suffering. I tell people it's more mental than physical, because when you're out there under the sun and under extreme weather conditions, you have to take everything that you brought from home in your personal life and harvest fruits and vegetables. And that is very difficult to do with low pay. So at the end of my father's work and many campaigns that we worked on, ended on the Driscoll boycott, boycotting Driscoll berries. And all these campaigns and all these struggles, it was done out of using the organizing and outreach with peace and education. And of course, there were times where things got very tense. People got arrested. But in my father's heart and in my mother's heart, there was always the need to put other people first. And if there's anything that I'd like to share about my father, who gave his entire life to this movement and the movement to help people and to uplift people and to stay on and to march on the side with people who are fighting for justice, like civil rights, human rights, environmental rights, was that we were laying the foundation for the future. And there was a time when we were in the jungle of Chiapas, and I was crying because I told him, I'm tired. I'm tired of losing. It feels like we're losing. And he said to me, I'm happy that, and I'm not happy, I'm aware and I'm happy that you are sharing this with me, that you are crying, because it tells me in your heart, the person you are, the spirit you are. And he said, it wasn't our job to win every fight, Desiree. It was our job to pave the way for the future to win for humanity. So keep that love in your heart. Keep your spirit in that place, because that's what it takes to bring change. And I'll never forget that. And that resonated with what Reverend Clark said. So this poster, I have these posters with me. If anyone would like any, I can sign for you. And I'm going to end it with this, that my mother said. Yeah, I'd like to quote her. It was a zealot. I'm trying to. Can I? Yeah. Okay. I was a zealot for change to better the lives of farm workers for our people. This sacrifice meant the revolution came first. We won many battles, built a movement and a farm workers union. We also lost too many people and battles. We couldn't just stop. The reasons were always bigger than our own suffering. It was about systemic change. It was sacrifices for our raza. The suffering was immeasurable, but I have absolutely no regrets. Elena Jamila Bates Rojas, March 9, 2021. The last slide is of me in Poplar, California, speaking like I am today, to say thank you. Thank you for remembering us. Thank you for remembering farm workers. Thank you for inviting me. And when you're in your supermarkets, when you see all those beautiful array of colors of vegetables and fruits, please don't forget that there were hands that harvested those fruits and vegetables. So I'd like to just end it by saying, blessed are those who sow the seeds. Blessed are those who harvest the fruits and vegetables. Blessed are those who cook that food. And blessed are those who eat that food, so we may be able to provide food and water, clean food and water for others. Viva la huelga, viva la causa, y viva el amor. Gracias.
Wow, thank you so much. That was amazing. As we enter into the more contemplative portion of today's service, please join me in singing this song, mine, called Holy Light of Love. Holy light of love, holy light of love, shine on, shine on. Holy light of love, holy light of love, shine on, shine on, and the darkness falls apart when the love shines from your heart. Holy light of love, holy light of love, shine on, shine on. Holy light of love, holy light of love, shine on, shine on, and the darkness falls apart when the love shines from our heart. Holy light of love, holy light of love, holy light of love, holy light of love, holy light of love.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to read the sacred reading for today. This is a poem by Ernest Holmes. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and thou art welcome to my home. There is room in my home for all. I swept the hearth and lighted the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you will find comfort and rest within. The table is laid, and the fruits of life are spread before thee. The wine is here also. It sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit and drink of the wine. All is yours, and you are welcome.
I used to tell my students or ask them, what was the most essential nutrient? Of course, everybody thinks food and water, but really air for our physical bodies. Has anybody ever seen a molecule of oxygen? No. But do you believe that it exists? You trust it, yeah? So I like to use that invisible thing we call air that we breathe in, our breath, that we so trust and believe is a very essential for our physical survival and thrival. So I invite us to use that as a metaphor for the invisible side of life that we may call God or Spirit, Jehovah, Allah, Yahweh. We may call it Shiva, Shango, Yemaya, Big Mama, Wakantanka, Mother Earth, Father Sky, Gaia. We may call it so many things. Some people say love, Jesus, Yahweh, Yeshua, peace, divine intelligence. It is all one, that one presence that is everywhere, all-knowing, all-powerful, by whatever name. And so as I know that I am a divine emanation, a divine expression of that one life, that one love, that power, that intelligence, that abundance, I know that this is the truth of everyone here, and indeed it is the truth of all creation in all universes. There is no spot where God is not. And so as we stand here on sacred ground, I declare that wherever you stand is sacred ground, for there is nothing outside of God. And so I bless this sacred service. I bless all who have come to bring their love and to share in this divine energy that is circulating, that is creating a space of love. I stand in gratitude for our surrendered vessel, Reverend David Clark, who allows his life to be that outward expression of the inward journey. I bless our beloved Donzaleigh Abernathy for her gifts and work in the world. I bless Desiree Rojas for her gift and her work in the world. And our music director, all of those who have shown up to prepare the space, allowing love to lead the way. I release my word, knowing that all is well. And I invite us to affirm this with the words of our African tradition, Ashe, and the words of our Native American tradition, Aho, and the words words of our Abrahamic, Judeo-Christian, Islamic traditions. Amen. And in our own knowing science of mind, declaring that it is already done, and so it is.
So I'm going to ask you to stay where you are, Deborah. And Joyce, would you like to join us? Put together a little impromptu choir. We're going to do something a little different. This is a really great traditional spiritual that I really love. It's called Walk With Me, Lord. I feel like it talks about how music really can help you get through stuff, right? And knowing that Spirit is with you. And so we sing this. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. While I'm on this spiritual journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. Walk for my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. Hold my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. While I'm on this spiritual journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Yeah, you can sing with us, yeah. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. While I'm on this spiritual journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me.
So the moment has arrived. It is my great pleasure to introduce Donzaleigh Abernathy, and I kind of feel like maybe she doesn't really need that big of an introduction because you've gotten a million emails from me right by now, so you kind of have that little bio and everything in your head. So I'm not going to talk about that stuff. I'm just going to say that Donzaleigh Abernathy is my god sister. Her parents were my godparents. Her mother worked with my mother. They taught school together before she got married. And what she told me was my mother was pregnant when she was leaving to get married, and so she claimed I had two older sisters, and they already had godmothers, and so she was like, I want a godchild. So she claimed me sight unseen, and what I sometimes think is, would she have claimed me?
Oh, stop it!
Yes. Anyway, so it is my pleasure to invite Donzaleigh up to share, and I'm going to shut up so she can get up here and share, because she is an incredible, incredible human being. So.
Wow. Oh my God, this is incredible. I am deeply, deeply honored to be here. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Reverend David Clark, Mrs. Clark. Dr. Billy, your music. And this congregation, I'm honored. Desiree, where are you? There you are. When I was a little girl, my dad, Cesar Chavez came to my dad and he said, help me help my people. So he came to California and I guess he was there and he came back home and he said to me, I was a little girl, my most favorite food in the world were grapes. So he said to me, Donzaleigh, I need you to do me a favor. Can you give up grapes? And I thought, he said, people are suffering because of this. I said, okay, Daddy, I'll give up grapes. I gave up grapes. My dad's entire staff from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference all over America boycotted grocery stores, shut down, and people would not buy fresh produce. I know this because a few days ago, I had lunch with my friend Jonathan Tumarkin, whose father owned A&P grocery stores all over the state of Ohio. But we gave up our food. We gave up those grapes. And I didn't eat a grape again until I was a grown woman. And I moved to Los Angeles, California. And then I thought, okay, now it's time I can eat them again. But that's the truth of my life. And as you stood here, it was like, oh my God, everything had come back. I have the flag that Cesar Chavez gave to my dad. I have it in my house by my side of the bed. All of these things. I know Mary Elena Chavez, Dolores Huerta's daughter, and I used to do engagements with them. And so you being here is a come to Jesus moment for me in my life because of what it represents, of the struggle that we mutually shared as a child. So I only have a few minutes to speak because there's too much history to tell and only a moment to tell it. We're in a critical time in American history. A critical time. The history of the past is what will inform the present and will inform the future of where we have to go as a nation. I want you all to see that picture up there about voting rights. I'm that little girl in that striped sweater right there. That's my brother in the middle. My sister above is Uncle Martin. I'm Coretta behind the priest, my mother and my father. We walked 55 miles from Selma to Montgomery. I walked 2 days, and that was 8 miles per day, 16 miles for us to have the right to vote. And now there are certain people in America that don't want us to have that right to vote. They want to make it difficult. The greatest responsibility we have as American citizens is to exercise that right to
Amen.
vote. It is the voice of the people. We live in a democracy. And what I need you all to understand is my dad went before Congress for the extension of the Voting Rights Act because it is based on permission for us to have that right to vote. And this was at the end of the Civil Rights Movement. And my father said before the Congressional Committee that more importantly than what had happened in the Civil Rights Movement, he wanted people to understand one thing. And that was the reason why he was there. He told the story of his grandpa, George, who was 12 years old when Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. That was my father's grandfather. But my father's grandmother was a slave on both sides, and the grandfathers on both sides. That's 4. The exact same thing happened on my mother's side of the family. So if those were my grandparents, then you need to understand that my great-grandparents were slaves. I am the descendant of slaves. And I want you all to understand that it wasn't that long ago. And don't let anybody try and change it and wipe away the history of who we were and what they did. So I'm going to go fast. How do I advance? How do I go forward?
The big button.
The big button, where do I point? Back to it.
No, you just
Oh,
press
there
it.
I go. I know if I point this way. Okay, now I go. I'm gonna point towards Patrick. I'm gonna trust that. Let me stand over a little bit so you all can see. Other thing I wanted to say is, with the civil rights movement, what you need to understand is nonviolence came to be because of the oppression that people endured here in the United States of America and across the world when you were a person of color. Nonviolence was necessary. Daddy and Uncle Martin learned it from the teachings of Glenn Smiley and from Gandhi. Gandhi learned it from Jesus. If you have a problem with nonviolence, I always say, you all need to go back 3,000 years and go take it up with Jesus. And so it was the Sermon on the Mount. When he came out of the mountain, like Deborah took me yesterday, through the mountains here from Napa. Jesus came down from the mountain and he said these words that I think are relevant for us today. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And they were peacemakers. And that's my dad. He was a soldier in World War II, and everyone in his company was killed. My father survived because he developed rheumatic fever. And another soldier survived because he was shot and left for dead. They were in the European theater and the black soldiers weren't allowed to rest, so they were sent to the islands off of the coast of Japan where everyone was slaughtered. Because he survived, he decided he was going to dedicate his life to a noble cause, nonviolence. Uncle Martin, my dad met Uncle Martin when Uncle Martin delivered his first sermon ever at a church. And at the close of the service, my dad walked up to him, they shook their hands, and there was a bond that was created between the two of them. Oh, that's Daddy preaching. Anyway, they would meet again when Uncle Martin had to come to Montgomery to preach his first sermon. Is this moving? Yeah. There it is. They're just preachers. I need to go beyond this. So, if you were a black person back then, you need to understand something. If you were a Latino person, if you were an Asian person, if you were a Native American person, if you were anything other than a white person, you got on the bus. You put your money on the bus, you got off of the bus. You went around to the back door, and then you got on the bus. Sometimes there were stories of a person that got on the bus and they were halfway in and off, and people had to hold on to them as the bus went on down the street because they didn't care to stop. So if you were a white person, you got on the bus, you put your money on the bus, you went down and then you sat. I don't understand why someone would deem to think that they were superior based on the color of their skin. And when you peel the skin away, we're all the same.
Yeah.
They want to harvest the organs of people that don't look like each other because inside we're all the same. So why would someone think we were different otherwise? So Rosa Parks was arrested. They didn't know how to fight. Glenn Smiley came down from the Fellowship of Reconciliation following Bayard Rustin, that they just made a movie about Bayard Rustin. Bayard had to leave because he was homosexual and people criticized him. And so they said to my father and Uncle Martin he had to go. And Uncle Martin said to my father, well, Ralph, I can't tell him, you have to tell him. Because they did good cop, bad cop. So Daddy said, okay, fine, I'll tell him. And so Daddy wanted to tell Bayard that he had to leave. And I guess Bayard carried that anger in his heart for the rest of his life towards my dad. But that was the way it was back then, and it was wrong. That's Rosa. That's Daddy. That's that day, and that's Bayard Rustin there with them as he comes down. Let's see the next one. Patrick, thank you. Thank you. So there you can see Bayard Rustin right there with them. And that's that day that they go to the courthouse to see what had happened to Rosa Parks. But then Bayard would leave. Let's see the next one. And there were colored cabs. And then the churches bought, like your church, would buy a station wagon to transport people. Let's see the next one. That's Uncle Martin in front of his church. Let's see the next one. There they are. They're in front of the station wagons that the churches would buy. So that's his daddy over here. Anyway, so that's Rosa, cousin Rosa. My mother's older sister, Eloise, married Uncle Morris, whose first cousin was Rosa. So for my mother's family, Rosa is cousin Rosa. That's Uncle Martin. This is Edie Nixon, who was head of the Montgomery NAACP, and that's Daddy. The NAACP couldn't do it because people needed a new organization. Let's see the next one. That's Rosa, and she was beautiful. She was a 42-year-old seamstress. She was the third woman to be arrested on a bus that year. Let's see the next one. And this is just Uncle Martin with the church. Let's see the next one. And that's Daddy overseeing the crowd. And they're overseeing the crowd because, and these are ministers all standing there. It was only going to be a one-day boycott. And then one day led to 2, led to 3, led to 4. And it led to 381 days. Let's see the next one. And here you see all of the people, and you'll see the hats of all of the women. Because women are the facilitators of change. But it is history because it is his story because he writes. But it was the women. And it was because of Rosa. But you see the women filled the churches. And this is my dad's church in Montgomery at the time. And we were hungry for our freedom. We were hungry for our freedom because we endured 244 years of slavery. And then 100 years of Jim Crow segregation. That's 344 years of somebody telling you that you're less than simply because of the color of your skin. Let's see the next one. And so we marched. And this says here, you can't see it, but it says, we shall overcome with liberty and justice for all, not for some, for all. Let's see the next one. And that's our Daddy being arrested. And then let's see the next one. Uncle Martin's being arrested. Let's see the next one. That's Uncle Martin. Keep going. That's Uncle Martin. And then Joanne Robinson, the woman who said to my father, Ralph, we need to do this boycott. This would be my dad's third boycott. It would be Uncle Martin's first. And Uncle Martin didn't necessarily want to do it. He's writing on his dissertation. And he was new in town. But the reason they chose him was because he was Dr. King. And if you're Dr. someone like Dr. Taylor, people will respect you more because you're Dr. somebody. And that's how Uncle Martin was chosen to be the head of this new organization, this Montgomery bus boycott. But when God calls you, it's no accident you get put in a certain circumstance. You rise to the occasion. That's what Daddy used to say. We were ordinary men put in an extraordinary situation and we rose to the occasion. Let's see the next one. And that's them leaving the courthouse. Let's see the next one. That's them learning nonviolence. Because nonviolence was the only way we were going to fight. White people had way more guns. And what was the point in picking up a gun and trying to shoot and kill your way out of what? We were trying to create a world where we could all just live together in peace. And so they went there. Let's go back to that second one, just so you understand. This is the Highlander Folk School in Mount Eagle, Tennessee, where they went to learn the principles of nonviolence. So this man, this is Uncle Martin. Behind him is this man named Pete Seeger. I don't know if you all remember Pete Seeger. He wrote our anthem, We Shall Overcome. And this is Karis Horton, the young girl whose father, Miles Horton, ran the Highlander Folk School in Mount Eagle, Tennessee, where they learned nonviolence. Rosa Parks, and then my father. So now we can go to the next one. That's just them on a trip. Let's go. They drove across country. And this just tells how this young pastor became the leader of this bus boycott. But black people all over America decided, oh my goodness, we get to stand up. There was a whole new breed of Negro in the South with a new sense of dignity and destiny. And for the first time, you could face a white person. Before, if you saw a white person, you had your head down like this. And if you were on the sidewalk, you'd get off the sidewalk because you didn't know how they would respond. Let's see the next one. So that's Uncle Martin, a pastor in a church like this. Let's see the next one. And here they are. So Uncle Martin was only 26. My dad was 29. This is my dad's assistant because he was working also at Alabama State College being a pastor. And this is Edie Nixon, who was head of the Montgomery thing, the Montgomery NAACP. But yeah, and you can see how young they are. Let's see the next one. And no one's on the bus. So finally, after 381 days, and the goal was not to stop the busing system. The goal was that we could sit where we wanted to sit on the bus, that we would have black bus drivers on the black routes, because the white bus drivers were not kind. And they couldn't understand, and my dad did a negotiation for how they would get it all done. And he had the spirit of love and nonviolence in his heart. He was just calm. That's just the way he was. This is Glenn Smiley, this white man who taught them nonviolence. And when Los Angeles was burning in the Los Angeles riots, I don't know if you all remember the Los Angeles riots. I went to an event at 20th Century Fox Studios called the Hollywood Policy Center. And a man said to me, oh, you're Ralph Abernathy's daughter? Oh, well, I heard there's this crazy old white man named Glenn Smiley. He says he taught Martin Luther King the principles of nonviolence. I said, he didn't. I said, where is he? And he told me where to find Glenn. And there was Glenn, an old white man in East Los Angeles, serving poor Latino children and Latino people. And all of a sudden, I was at home. I had a sense of purpose. Before that, I lived in Santa Monica by the beach, and I was an actress. A shallow, superficial young woman thinking I'm living off of the sufferings of my father, but I've arrived. But I hadn't arrived. I was lost. But when Los Angeles started burning, I had a purpose, and I went east to where people look like me, and I started to serve. And I've been there ever since. Let's see the next one. And here they are, as white people have now gotten on the bus, and there's Glenn right there with Uncle Martin and Daddy protecting Uncle Martin. Let's see the next one. And then in retaliation, they bombed our homes and they bombed our churches, and that's my father's picture. You can't really see it, but you'll see the next one. That's my parents' home. So my mother was pregnant with me, and my sister was there in the home, and Daddy and Uncle Martin had gone to Atlanta to create a new organization called the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. My mother had fallen asleep. She didn't want to go because she was in that first trimester when you get nauseous, and my sister was a toddler. So my mother said she was watching the Jack Parr show. You remember Jack Parr, the predecessor to Johnny Carson? And she said an angel awakened her. She got up and she went into the bedroom. Brownie, our little Cocker Spaniel, followed Mother into the bedroom. She checked on my sister in the crib. She laid down on the bed, and 15 minutes later, the in front of the house just erupted. She got on the phone and she called my dad in Atlanta, Georgia, at Granddaddy King's house, because that's where Daddy and Uncle Martin was staying with Aunt Coretta. And Granddaddy King starts yelling at Uncle Martin, "You all have stirred up all these white people. Look what you all have done." And then while my mother's on the phone with my father, there's the second explosion, which was my dad's church, First Baptist Church. And they could hear the explosion. Uncle Martin in his book, Stride Towards Freedom, he said, with Ralph's home and church bombed, all we could do is get down on our knees and ask the Lord to give us the strength to carry on. Well, that night they bombed my parents' home, my dad's church, Bell Street Church, Mount Olive Church, and the home of the white minister, Reverend Robert Gratz. And they bombed Reverend Gratz's house because this white man was serving the black community. We needed to set him straight. But that's what they thought. But little did they understand, Reverend Robert Gratz says, I'm not going anywhere. Because they have bombed me, I will stay. And this is how they retaliated. The Ku Klux Klan, the white supremacists, the people that wanted black people over here, white people over here, Latino people over here, Asian people over here, Jewish people over here, Muslim people over here, and because we were Christian, we're supposed to be over here thinking we're better. But we're not. We're all the same in the eyes of God. We're all God's creatures. Let's see the next one. Keep going. So then they had the March on Washington. That's the first March on Washington in 1957. Let's see the next one. That's just Uncle Martin and Daddy. Keep going. A. Philip Randolph was responsible. And then the people in Arkansas went crazy and the people in the South. And they said race mixing is communist. And that meant that you all couldn't be together. And that there was something wrong with people loving people that did not look exactly like them. Let's see the next one. So then Uncle Martin wrote his book and a crazy woman stabbed him in the heart. There you see the letter opener. I don't know if you all can see it. A black woman. Now they're crazy black people too. That's the reality. And when we were little, he used to tell us that he'd been stabbed and show us, and we'd climb on top of him and kiss him and say, oh, we're so glad you didn't sneeze. Because he said, because the letter opener it was touching the aorta. Let's see the next one. Keep going. Keep going. And then the Freedom Riders, I'll never forget this, but keep going. Keep going. I just want you to see the pictures. This man, his family owned a store called Peck and Peck. I don't know if you remember that store. But he was a wealthy young man and he was a freedom rider. And they beat him unmercifully because he was seated on a bus beside a black person. Let's see the next one. There he is again. Keep going. This is Jim Zwerg, who was on the bus with Congressman John Lewis. Don't know if you know my congressman from Atlanta, John Lewis, before he died. Yes. But what an incredible man. And so they are on the bus together. And when they get off of the bus in Montgomery, they were beaten. Let's see the next one. So Daddy says, I'm going to have a mass meeting. He called Uncle Martin and said, Uncle Martin's living in Atlanta at that point. I need you to come over to my church. We're going to have a mass meeting. And so they had a mass meeting. And the Ku Klux Klan saw Mrs. Virginia Durr, a white woman whose husband was the first lawyer for Rosa Parks. So they see her come in. They saw even more young white people attending the mass meeting. So they took her car, they flipped it over, they set it on fire, they surrounded the church. They said they were going to kill everybody in the church. And so that you can see the people sleeping in the pews. This is my dad's church. Uncle Martin is here with his hand on his just stress, like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? He had flown from New York to Atlanta and then driven from Atlanta to Montgomery to be with us. So then they're waiting for Bobby Kennedy because the governor says, I'll send the police on over there and they'll take care of the people. But at that point, the police were members of that group that wanted to suppress us. And so Bobby Kennedy said, you can't send them. I'll tell you what, I'll send in the National Guard, which overstepped Governor Patterson. And there they are, the National Guard, who have come in to protect the people. In the wee hours of the morning, they were finally able to leave the church. And then the Freedom Riders would continue. You could see the next one. So that's my parents' home the following morning. I'll never forget this day. I got up, and there were all these students, black and white, sleeping on the floor, on these little pallets on the floor in our living room. And then they had the press conference. That's John Lewis. I met him that day. That's Uncle Martin, that's Daddy, and Y.T. Walker. Let's see the next one. And then this is James Farmer, who created the Congress of Racial Equality. And Denzel Washington made that movie, The Great Debaters, about him. But that's in my parents' home. Let's see the next one. Just keep going. There are too many pictures here. And they're the Freedom Riders. Keep going. I'm going to go to Selma and then I'm going to stop. Let's keep going. I just want you to see them being arrested. Keep going. And then white students in Seattle, Washington, all the way across America, the students took to the streets because they were trying to seek something that was morally correct. And they joined this movement, this civil rights movement that started just with these small little people in Montgomery. Never doubt that a small group of concerned citizens can change the course of history. Margaret Mead said it. They proved it. And then they built an army of citizens of goodwill. Here you see people with that, you saw them on their knees. Colin Kaepernick,
Yes.
the quarterback from San Francisco, he wasn't being disrespectful. In the face of oppression, we took a knee. That's what we do. We humble ourselves. That's a part of the principles of nonviolence. So when your brother hits you on the cheek, you don't hit him back. Jesus said, turn your other cheek and give him the other cheek. So that's what we would do. We would humble ourselves. When the little girls came to me and tried to fight me in elementary school because we'd integrated the elementary school, I said, hit me, but I will never hit you back. I will not lower myself to hit you back. And they just got mad and they were just kicking me and kicking, and there was nothing that they could do. And it takes two to fight. And if one person refuses to fight, what can you do? And in Birmingham, Alabama, when they turned the water hoses and the dogs on the young people, the first day, the people, got together. The second day, the people got down there on their knees. And the third day, when Bull Connor said, turn on those hoses. And it was Palm Sunday. The firemen refused to turn on those hoses. That's the power of nonviolence, and how through your goodness you attack the subconscious mind of your oppressor because you're not fighting back. You're showing love. You're showing humility. And Bull Connor was so angry there was nothing he could do because the firemen were not going to acquiesce. They were going to stand on justice and truth. And that's what nonviolence is all about. Let's see the next one. That's the integrating the lunch counter, because we couldn't go into the restaurants when I was a little girl. We couldn't go to the restroom. The drive that Deborah and I made yesterday from Napa, if I wanted to go over the mountain, I couldn't have stopped at a restaurant. In the back of the car, my mother had toilet paper, and we'd have to pull over on the side of the road, and you'd go into the woods. And it didn't matter if you were in town, you weren't going to use that colored restroom because it was filthy and it was dirty. And you weren't going to drink from that colored water fountain. It was disgusting. Let's see the next one. That's them just going to jail now. They're down in Florida. Keep going. That's them leaving jail. Keep going. And there they're taking a knee in Birmingham. Let's see the next one. Then they're trying to decide what to do in Birmingham. Keep going. They've got their heads together. That's Reverend Shuttlesworth. Let's see the next one. And that's the Good Friday March. Let's see the next one. And they're dressed alike, and they're walking downwards to the Capitol, to City Hall, where they were going to get down on their knees and pray. And Bull Connor stopped them. Let's see the next one. Let's see the next one. And they grabbed them, my dad by the back of his shirt, Uncle Mon by the seat of his pants. Let's see the next one. And you see, and then they threw him in the paddy wagon. Keep going. They put them in the Birmingham jail and they separated them. They gave them no mattress. They gave them no bed. All they had was a dirty floor, and they put them in solitary confinement. And on teeny-weeny little pieces of toilet paper, Uncle Martin wrote the letter from the Birmingham jail, which is why we could no longer wait for our freedom, why we could not endure anymore in a country that we had built. We were the free labor that built the United States of America. We arrived in 1619. We had been here all of this time, and we were denied the right to enjoy it. And the only time we got to enjoy a modicum of hope in America was when Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and we had that small window of something called Reconstruction that came to an end when Rutherford B. Hayes, the president of the United States, made a dirty deal so that he could be elected. And he said, I'll let the South make the Negroes their problem. And then they instituted 100 years of Jim Crow segregation. And Uncle Martin wrote all this in the letter to the Birmingham jail. Why? Why we wanted to be free. Let's see the next one. That's Dad and Uncle Martin in jail. Keep going. And that's Mother and Aunt Coretta leaving jail with Reverend Shuttlesworth as they visited Dad and Uncle Martin. Let's see the next one. They're on the cover of a magazine. Let's see the next one. And then people started to boycott Woolworths and stores across America. Let's see the next one. And then the young people from the church, at that church, 16th Street Baptist Church, the young girls led the marches, and all they were doing were going to the Capitol, not to the Capitol, to City Hall to pray. Let's see the next one. And so they started arresting them. Arresting them. That's a little girl that's getting ready to be arrested. The children, they left their classrooms and marched. All of those children were being arrested. Children. They asked one of those little girls, why are you doing this? What is this about? And she said, I want to be free. Can a man love God and hate his brother? Keep going. So then they turned the water hoses. Keep going. The water on the children. Keep going. They were in the park. Can you imagine? Glenn Smiley, he said, he was there that day because he was there in Montgomery and Birmingham and Selma. He said the power of the water hoses was so great, I saw it peel the bark off of the tree. Let's see the next one. Keep going. This is the history that people are saying is critical race theory, but it's not. It's history. Knowing history informs the president, and then it informs the future, and it teaches us how to make better choices for the future. And these are young people. Let's see the next one. Keep going. And so right there, they decide that they're calling off the boycott because the merchants have decided that they're going to allow black people to work in the store, and they're going to give us a dressing room in the store, and they're going to let us use the bathrooms in the store. And so right after that, that hotel that was right there, Daddy and Uncle Martin got up from their meeting, went into the hotel, they got their things, they got into the car, and as they got to the corner, the whole front of that hotel exploded. Let's see the next one. And that's just going to see the president, President Kennedy. Let's see the next one. Keep going. That's just the women. And then they came to Hollywood. And on that particular day, Burt Lancaster had a big party and raised all of this money. That's Paul Newman. You remember Paul Newman? The young generation, they only know him from Newman's Own. They don't know anything about the movie star. It's Marlon Brando who gave them $50,000. One check. He paid for all of the bail for all of the young children who had been arrested in Birmingham. Brando did that. Let's see the next one. And then there was the March on Washington. Just keep going. I'll never forget that day. Catholic, Jews, and Protestants together. Keep going. Keep going. Just see the people. We sang We Shall Overcome. James Garner, Diane Carroll, Charlton Heston. Stop. Charlton Heston said to me, I was doing a movie. And they tried to he said, they're trying to make me the face of the NRA. And he called, he wanted to meet me. So we talked on the phone. And he said, I need you to tell people about me. I believe in civil rights. I'm a liberal. They're trying to make me this extreme right person. I'm not. Tell people about me. Promise me that you'll tell people about me. I said, sir, I promise you. He said, I was a part of the civil rights movement. I just followed the Constitution and the right to bear arms. But I am a liberal. Don't let them make me something that I was not. I'm not. And I was like, okay.
Keep going. And then they had so this is the day, right? They're having a press conference. Charlton Heston is like, I'm taking over, I'm speaking, because he'd done been her at that point. And Burt Lancaster, the Hollywood people had chosen Burt Lancaster to be the speaker, but Charlton Heston said, no, I know I have only a few more minutes, I gotta go fast. Keep going. As my dad speaking that day, I have no memory of my dad speaking. I just remember when Uncle Martin spoke. And he said, my 4 little children, my sister and I were up on the steps, and we were seated, and Uncle Martin said, well, my 4 little children, we judge not by the color of their skin, but by the content of my character. And we jumped up and down screaming. And my sister says to me, I just don't understand why he didn't mention us. But that's the truth. That's what she says. Anyway, so keep going. So in retaliation, they bombed that church, 16th Street Baptist Church. That's Sarah that survived. Those are the girls that died. Keep going. I can't tell that story now. It was just my earliest knowledge of death. And after that, I could no longer go to the restroom in the church. And every day I would go to nursery school or kindergarten and urinate on myself. Because I thought if you go to the bathroom, they will kill you. Because when you're little and you're a child, you see and you personalize everything. You think you're responsible. If mother and daddy have a fight, you think it's your fault. If mother and daddy were to divorce, children blame themselves. So they don't understand. That's a funeral of the girls. Keep going. Keep going. That's daddy giving. And then right after that, they killed our president on November 22nd, 1963. And Mrs. Kennedy said they killed her husband because of his stand on civil rights. And then days ago, I can't tell you, I just received a script about a movie that deals with a woman who was the girlfriend of the president who was then killed. Yes, Uncle Martin got the Nobel Prize after that in '64. Keep going. Oh, that's the Nobel Prize, keep going. That's the Nobel Prize committee. They went to Berlin. They went to Italy. And then they went to Florida because the ocean that we take for granted, people of color weren't allowed to go and enjoy the ocean. And you see how vast that ocean is? Who is man to decide who could enjoy that ocean when we can't even stop that ocean from rising? Keep going. And there they pouring acid in the pool because they didn't want black and white people to swim together. Keep going. And then they killed the 3 civil rights workers, James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Swerner, 2 Jewish young men and a black young man, and buried them in an earthen dam. Keep going. That's Malcolm X. That's them confronting the killers, the men, the police who actually killed those young men. Let's see the next one. That's them meeting Malcolm. And then this is where I'm going to end. Keep going, but I'm going to end at this, which is our rights to vote. And they trample them on Bloody Sunday. That's them going to see the president. Let's see the next one. That's them in the Oval Office discussion the creation of the Voting Rights Act. Let's see the next one. That's them with President Johnson. That's them leaving. And then we took to the South. That's Congressman John Lewis and Daddy and Uncle Martin. Let's see the next one. Keep going. That's taking a knee again. Keep going. And that's them marching. That picture was was in Nancy Pelosi's office on January 6th, and I'm watching the insurrection. And I see that man sitting in Madam Speaker's office with his feet up on the desk, and a voice said, Donzaleigh, look to the left, look to the left. And I looked to the left, and there on the wall was this photograph that Congressman John Lewis had given to her, and a plaque. And I started to cry. It became personal at that point. This was our democracy that we had fought for, that we had died for. Everyone in my father's company had died defending that democracy. They were denied the right to come back to America and enjoy that same democracy. And then on January 6th, they were going to trample that democracy? No. Oh, no. Oh, no. I made a decision at that point. Yes, I will fight. I will give my life to defend our democracy if need be. This is a great country.
And if it lives up to the principles upon which it is founded, it'll be a pleasure and a blessing for all of us, not for some of us. Let's see the next one. Keep going. And then people of all colors came. Keep going. Keep going. And they converged. That they were met by the police. That was the turnaround Tuesday. Keep going. And then that evening, 3 of the white ministers had dinner. And as they were leaving, the Ku Klux Klan saw 3 white men leaving a soul food restaurant. And they beat Reverend James Reed, a white minister from Massachusetts, to death. And that's them taking the wreath that they would lay in honor of Reverend Reed. What's wrong with people? What makes them think that you can't eat or live or marry or socialize with the people that you love or the people that you want to be? Why do you need to be with people that just look like you? Let's see the next one. Keep going. Dad and Uncle putting their hands, and that's the official start of the march. Keep going. And the Hawaiian delegation gave leis. And I know people tried to say that because President Obama was born in Hawaii, he was in America. Hawaii is a state. Keep going. Jim Lethero marched 55 miles from Selma to Montgomery on one leg. And I marched with him. What was I supposed to do? Hate white people? Absolutely not. Keep going. You have to meet their hate and meet it with love and show them how to rise above. Keep going. Keep going. And that's us. I'm walking so slowly because I'm a slow walker. I still am a slow walker. So that's me and my brother and my sister. But there were thousands of people behind us. And we'd finally gotten into the outskirts of Montgomery. And so Uncle Martin was fed up at that point because more people kept joining us. And so my mother tries to push me along. The priest comes and drags me on down the road. Keep going. And that night, Uncle Martin, we sit on the stage as Tony Bennett sang, I left my heart in San Francisco. It's the first time I'd ever heard it. And that's Uncle Red is nervous. Uncle Martin thanked all the movie stars, all the famous people that arrived, and here we are. This is me right here, and my sister, and my hand is at my mouth because we understand, we're little people. Keep going. And that's at the beginning of that day. Keep going. That's the official, that's us again in the front. Keep going. Keep going. That's the official day of that march. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. James Baldwin, that's my dad, Uncle Martin, keep going, and my brother. That's them, keep going. Keep going. I just need to stop right there. So this white woman, I'm at the end, Mrs. Viola Laoza, she had come from Michigan, and she said, I can't do anything, but I'll drive black people back and forth to the polls so that they can register to vote. And she's leaving that day. She's dropped off these young men, and she has only this one young man left in her car, Leroy Moulton and Viola Davis, Viola Loza, and they see that white woman in Selma. They chase her down Highway 80, that road we just finished marching down. And then they blagged back, and then they got their pistols. And the FBI informant said, what are you doing? We can't do this. They're like, oh yes, we're doing this. They all got their pistols, they pulled beside Mrs. Lauza, and then they shot her in the face. And the car pulled over into the ditch. Leroy Moulton turned off the car and passed out because he had her brains all over him. She died for us to have the right to vote. Go to the next picture because you'll see that's the president signing the Voting Rights Act into law. And that's why I'm here today, because I want you all to understand how important it is and how you've got to extend that olive branch to those that don't look like you. And we have to follow the principles of God and Christ and Gandhi and Uncle Martin and my dad and the history, and don't let them try to wipe it away. Teach it to your children. Teach it to your loved ones. This is the greatest country on the face of the earth. And we're great because of the people. We're the most diverse country on the face of the earth. It is because of the people. Keep the message alive, keep the dream alive, and God bless you, and thank you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how you follow that. I'm going to try. I was very moved. Thank you so much. That was amazing, Donzaleigh. It's just amazing. So, I just witnessed this incredible one-woman show, and I have the name for it. It's called Keep Going. Keep going. Anyway, this is something music comes to me. I think of it as a gift. These songs already exist, and I'm just fortunate enough to discover them. And this one is called Everything is God. And all that I need is in my hands, and all that I want has no demands, and all that I seek is always found. You see, it's all around. It's you and me, and everything is God, and all that I need is in my hands, and all that I want has no demands, and all that I seek is always found. You see, it's all around. It's you and me, and everything is God. And when it feels like things aren't going my way, it's just because I forgot where I was going. So I will remember the things I learned today, and be a witness to all the love that God's showing. 'Cause all that I need is in my hands, and all that I want has no demands, and all that I seek is always found. You see, it's all around. It's you and me, and everything is God.
Wow. Oh. You might not have heard me. I said, wow. Donzaleigh, thank you so much for your wonderful talk. And also, can we have a hand for Desiree as well, who is also wonderful. What a wonderful day. Okay, so we are a center that observes the spiritual practice of giving and tithing. And we call it conscious, committed, and structured giving. And there are many ways to give and expand your abundance consciousness. We give of our time through volunteering, we give of our talents through participation, and we give of our treasure through financial donations. Your gifts help us in our mission to provide a sanctuary for all to be lifted and inspired to embody spiritual principles and to live their inherent greatness, and to bring us special speakers like Donzaleigh, like Desiree. So, and every month we have a partner organization that we get together with in the community, and we share some of our gifts with them. And it's always an organization that has values that align with ours. And this month we are helping to support the Culture Co-op, caring, optimistic, open-minded people. Their mission statement is the Culture Co-op promotes systemic change, inclusion, equality, cultural competency, diversity, literacy, and quality education for all. And that is what we are all about. So please know that we're also helping to support that wonderful organization along with this wonderful organization, the Center for Spiritual Living, Yolo. Now, there are several ways to give. You can text to give. You can PayPal us at the address on the screen. You can check it. You can send us a good old check or money order to CSL Yolo, or you can visit our website at cslyolo.org and click on the Donate Now button. And one more thing, you can put money in that pot that's coming around. You can do it the old-fashioned way. So there are many things that we can do. So now that we know why we give and we know how to give, let us enter into that sacred consciousness of divine abundance. And I ask you to place your hand over your heart and symbolize that vibrational energy of circulation. You feel your heart pumping away in there, and say with me our abundance affirmation. I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. Today, I celebrate my prosperity and my ability to share from my overflow of good. I give from the knowledge that all is well.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
We bless and release these gifts to do their work of proclaiming the good news that all is well. As we have freely given according to the law of circulation, it returns to us, full measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So we will always have more to enjoy and to spare, to give and to share. For this we give thanks. We let it be so, and so it is. All right, just a couple of more things we got for you. We just have a message for our kids out there, the kids that are headed this way, the kids that are here with us now, nestled deeply within our souls that we carry around with us everywhere. We want to say we love you.
We love you.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
And we're so glad you're here.
And we're so glad you're here.
And we believe in the power of connection at this center. And what does that mean? That means we believe that we are connected to Spirit and we are connected to each other, and that connection has power. We exercise that power through prayer. So if you find yourself in need of prayer today, please come to one of our prayer practitioners, me, Abernathy or Joyce or Dr. Deborah that was just in here that just skittered on out down to the fellowship hall. Please come to us and let us know if you need prayer. It is our pleasure. It is our life's work to pray for you and to see God working in your life. So if you are in need of prayer, please let us know. We have a lovely little prayer area over there, and we can just pray you up and see God in every facet of your life.
Is this the first time?
Oh, this is the first Sunday.
I hate to bring it up.
This is the first Sunday, and we want to say happy birthday. And this is a very important month. We want to say happy birthday to all those April babies out there. Any April babies out there? Yes, the coolest.
Oh, that's right.
Just saying, just saying. You don't want to be forgotten. Oh, and Joyce is going to sing our happy birthday song.
God danced the day you were born. The angels did the bump to Gabriel's horn. God danced the day you were born. We celebrate the gift of you. We celebrate the gift of you.
Thank you so much, Joyce. And last but not least, I just want to let you all know that we are having fellowship downstairs, y'all. And we've got cookies and goodies and coffee and tea and all kinds of good stuff down there. And we're having a kind of an informal Q&A session with Donzaleigh. She'll be down there, and so you can meet her, you can shake her hand, you can give her a hug. And you can ask her anything that you want. So please join us downstairs after the service in the fellowship hall. And that occurs after our closing song. We would normally circle up, but we're just going to sing a song where we are right now. The peace song, and the words are on the screen there.